Good morning and welcome to Facebook Live, where I'm going to get creative with my new florals and foliage collection. Okay, I have one computer working. Might as well have the other one in front of me as well. Okay, lovely. Got some people join me. I hope you can hear me. Hi, Philippa. I don't know which screen to look at. I've given myself too many options. Hi, Betty. And they're both telling me different people. I love that. Morning, Catherine. Morning, Anne. Morning, Debs. Brilliant. I love that. Oh, dear. That will serve me right, won't it? Hi, Sue. Hi, Joe. I hope you're all in, well, lots of you I know, or some of you, I shouldn't say lots of you, some of you I know are on Easter holidays, so I hope you're enjoying that. And it's lovely that you've got a chance to join us as well. Morning, Anne. Morning, Marilyn. Now, I don't know if I was... Oh, hi, Denise. Hi, Sue. I'm going to take it that I haven't said. It's crazy. There's too many screens now. And I'm meant to be looking at this one in the middle. I love that. Oh dear. Right, okay. So I'm going to get creative this morning with my new collection. I'm going to do a couple of cards, I think, hopefully. So I'm going to do this one, or a variation, because you know me, I don't like to do the same card twice. I'm going to definitely do different colours. But it just gives you another bit of inspiration. So, hi, Gail. How many screens have I done? I shouldn't have done it. It's too confusing. Right, I'm going to concentrate on this one. Okay. Oh, excellent. Lynn, that's fantastic. What great service is that? Your goodies are going to arrive today. You'll be able to play later. How lovely. Okay, I'm going to flip the camera and I'll make a start on the card, and then, oh, the other card I'm going to make, sorry, there's going to be, I'm going to do a version of this one, but again, I'm going to do different colours. So we will see what we end up making. I think it's more exciting like that. So bear with me while I flip the camera, ladies. Hold on. Oops. And I shouldn't just have said ladies, I should have said everybody. There we go. Okay. So, okay, so now one of my screens isn't working, so that's good. That didn't last long, did it? As long as the main one's working. Okay, so could you just send me some hearts to make sure that we're all okay still, please? Yours is coming. Oh, I'm back. Right, I'm back. I think I'm okay. No, I've gone again. Right, it says I'm okay. I'm going to follow that I'm okay and just not worry about the screen in front of me. Okay, so I am going to use, I'm going to create this card, and I'm going to be using my background stencil. I'm going to be using picked raspberry, so I'm going to have a brighter background. I've got the VersaFine black ink pad to stamp my designs out in. I've got the Special Day Florals, which is the one that I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using the hexagon. Do love this one. And then some of the sentiments that we've got on this as well. And I'm going to be using my clean colour pens instead of an ink pad. But you could do it with ink pads as well to colour in whatever you want, whatever you like to use as a colouring medium. I think that's really the best thing. You know, you use what you've got. But these are the bits and pieces that I will be using today. So I have, let's move these bits out of the way a little bit. Oh, my computer just really does not like, I mean, I think we've got over the problems with the internet because all my other screens are working. No, it doesn't like it. I'm going to forget it. So got my background stencil as well, and I'm going to start off with a piece an A6 piece, which is what I'm going to stamp all my bits and pieces on, and I'm going to colour those, stamp them and colour them first, and then I will do the background for my card. And I've got a piece of, I can never remember, 18 by 24, so it's going to make a 5 by 7 card blank. But you could do this any size. This would actually go onto a little A6 card. You could put these on here quite easily if you wanted to keep it as a small card. So I am going to, in my stamping press, put my piece of card and then sort out my stamp. So it's well used and well loved. I've done some heat embossing, so it always loses a little bit of stick. So sometimes I have to wash them when I've done heat embossing, because I think there's something on the ink pad that, I don't know, makes them not stick so much anymore. Okay, so I'm going to stamp 3 of these designs. So ink in my stamp first of all. And I do need to make sure that I keep looking at the comments, actually. Make sure that there's nothing, in case anything happens or goes wrong. Right, then I'm going to slide my piece of card up and I'm going to line up, make sure I've got enough room. So, yep. I probably haven't done it close enough to the edge. I could have got another one in. We'll see. I might be able to get another one in. So we've got 2. And I'm going to flip my card and let's see. There might be enough room at the top there if I do it up there. Let's see. Even if I overhang a little bit, it might be, no, not that much. Okay, so I'm going to be, oh, I'm being a very good crafter, aren't I? No, I'm not going to get it in there. Let's see if it'll go in that bit there. Nope. Right, I'm not going to worry. I'm going to get another piece of card. Anybody would think I didn't have any card. And I won't go through my scraps drawer. I know I should really, but I am just going to put another piece of card in and ink my stamp. So if you're going to do this and try and get 3 out on one piece, which you will be able to easily, make sure you stamp right close to the edge so that you've got that bit of room to actually get that other design in. Okay, so I know you won't be as wasteful as I am. So I stamp my next one down, so I have my 3 images that I need. So I'm going to put my press to one side for a minute, and now I've got these I'm going to work on for colouring. So have I got that positioned okay? I know it's horrible with that light, I'm sorry, but at least you'll be able to see what I'm doing. Okay, so for some reason I always start by colouring my leaves first of all, and I'm just going to put a soft wash of the green. It's a very pale green, but if you were doing this, you could do this with your distressed oxides as well. I've just been doing colouring a bit more with my pens recently, which I've really enjoyed, because I do love to colour. It is a thing that I find so relaxing and so therapeutic. So just putting that little touch of colour down first of all, and then I can come in with a deeper green. This is more like an appley green. But so you could do this with mowed lawn. If you were using distressed oxides, you could use it with a water brush as well, or whatever pens. If you've got, I know Philippa's really been getting into her alcohol markers, hasn't she, recently? But anything that you've got that you like to colour with. I did actually buy the Studio Light pens the other day as well, which after seeing Hazel use them, because they look lovely, and I need to practice with them, but they were beautiful. Okay, so I've decided I'm going to go with 2 different colour pinks, and I'm going to bring some oranges in as well, because I think pinks and oranges will look lovely together. So I'm going to start with a little bit of pink, and I like to watercolour with these. I just make sure my brush is clean and that it's got some water coming out. You have to do, or I have found, not you have to, but I have found that if I do 2 or 3 petals at a time, I can still manage to get them to move nicely on the paper. And I'm actually using Super Smooth, so Pink Frog Super Smooth card. And I'm actually going to use that for the water, the inky one that I'm going to do as well. I'm not going to use watercolour card. And I do think like cardstock is really important. It can make a big difference. So I'm going to do 2 with pink, and then I'm going to do 1 with an orange main flower, and then I can change it up a little bit on my card as well. And I love how you can change the orientation. I do love these little frame ones. Being able to change the orientation of where you have the flowers. So I'm sure that you saw from all the beautiful inspiration from the design team, just what a difference it can make, being able to change that, the angle of the flowers, have some in the top, some in the bottom, some on the side. It doesn't restrict you then at all. Okay, so now I'm going to do this one orange. And some colours I find with pens move better than others, so I know that I can do maybe a few more, maybe able to get away with 4 petals on this colour. But it's really strange. Like with one of the purples that I've got, I'd have to do just 2 petals. So even the colours in the pens vary, how they're going to move as well. Okay, so then I'm going to use this colour for these flowers, where I've got a big pink daisy. So I'm mixing and matching my colours just so that it's given a bit of variety as well. And then I think with the little daisies, on the big pink daisy one, I will go with the softer orangey colour. And then because I want to do the picked raspberry, I'm going to do a pink frame as well. So just coming in to colour these. And just using that water brush, it just moves that colour around a little bit. So it gives you a bit more depth to your flowers as well. And they're not all the same colour. I just think it makes them look a bit, I don't know, a bit more realistic. Looks, I don't know, I just really like adding that extra bit of colour. So I could go in and I could add a different colour to the centres if I wanted to. If I bring this up just so that you can see that a bit closer. But just by adding those bits of colour and then moving it around with the water brush, it blends out. I don't know, it gives 2 different shades. It's lovely. All right, sorry, thank you very much, Jackie, for answering the question. Yes, I am using clean colour. Right, sorry, I've missed all these. Morning, Yvonne. Morning, Andreen. Hi, Joe. Lovely that you could join us, though. Perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to come in with the pink that I had for my original daisy. And just move the colour around to there. And I tend to just put the colour down where the details on my petals are as well. That just helps me with knowing where to put that darker colour. That's great. And then we'll come in and we'll have the lighter colour daisies, the lighter orange for these ones. Okay, so then I'm going to go in with the pink and just add a little bit of colour in the frame. And then I will use my water brush and I will just work that colour just outside a little bit, so it's just going to almost like smudge it a little bit really around the edge. It's almost like I would be ink blending around the edge of it, just softens that frame. And the reason I'm doing it is because when I come to cut that out, because I'm going to cut 2 of them out, it actually gives me a bit of a bigger area that I'm cutting against. Okay. Oh, I suppose I could have pink and an orange. Let's do that. Let's live dangerously. So I'm going to push the colour out first of all. So it's making my frame a little bit bigger. And then I will come in, and on the inside, if there's any colour left, I will push it inside as well, because that's going to give me that little bit bigger border as well. Okay, so they're looking lovely. And then I'm going to take the orange that we use for the daisy, and I'm going to use that as the colour for this frame. And then that's really mixing it up and giving us something a little bit different this time. So just pushing that colour out very gently, but it's just softening it, and it does just look like you've ink blended around the edge then. And now I'll come inside, but like I say, for when I'm cutting that out, that's just going to make that a little bit wider, so it makes it easier for cutting out. Okay, so I am more than happy with my colouring there. Let's pop these pens out of the way and just clean my brush off. Okay, so I hope you all agree that they are looking really pretty and they're ready to be cut out. So I'm going to cut 2 out, and then I've got 2 that I cut out, and then I had 1 left, which is the one I'm going to use for my sentiment. So I think I'm going to use my orange one as my sentiment one, and I'll link the 2. I don't know, or should I have a pink and an orange linked and then a pink? Oh, but you'd have the pink at the top. Get up there. We'll have the pink at the top and then the orange, and then we'll have the pink solid for our sentiment. So I always cut as much card off as I possibly can, and then I would always start with the straight edge, and I'm going to leave a gap around the edge of the ink, the colour that I've pulled out, and then I'm just going to cut round, trying to keep my scissors straight and actually moving the paper to get those nice soft edges. It's not, I actually really quite enjoy doing a little bit of, this is not really fussy cutting because this has got a really big border around the edge, but to me it's fussy cutting. But it is really, I find it really therapeutic. I don't mind a little bit of cutting, I have to say. And then just round in the corners a little bit when you cut onto the frame. So this is the one that's going to be our sentiment one for the bottom. And then our orange one. You need to be a little bit careful if you are cutting out, because remember you've made the card wet, so this does feel a little bit damp still, so best really to let it really dry out before you start cutting out. So maybe I should have done the ink blending through the stencil onto my card before I cut it out, but just bear that in mind, and you don't want to pick any colour up on your fingers either, otherwise you'll need to get Hazel's butterflies out and start adding some bits to cover things up. And how do I know that? Because I've done it so many times before. Okay, so we need to cut the centre out of this one as well. So I'm going to find my craft knife, And I find it easiest if I do a cross in my design with my craft knife, and then bring my scissors in, and I find it easier, make as many cuts as you need to get you started, but I find it easier coming in from underneath, or do I? Maybe from the top. You can do either. I think sometimes I come in from underneath, maybe once I've got it started. Yvonne, you could cut like me. I'm not good at it or anything. I mean, a lot of this is, I have to say, and I had a big conversation with Maxine about this the other day. It's practice. We shouldn't all expect to be able to do something the first time we do it, but we all do. And then we're all so hard on ourselves because maybe we can't do it first time. But this is years and years and years and years of practice. So and if you look closely at mine, it's not brilliant by any stretch of the imagination. But once it's on the card and you've added a little bit of glitter glue, nobody's gonna look at the card and go, oh, you didn't cut that out very well. Well, if they do, they don't deserve the card. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, so last one. Sorry, I'm reading Miriam's comment. You enjoy cutting fiddly things with the concentration? Absolutely, it does, because you're concentrating on something else. Your brain hasn't got time to flood you with all the things that you're worrying about or thinking about. So you're right, it's just so therapeutic. It's like the colouring. That for me is, I just get absolutely lost in what I'm doing. I love it. Okay. So round in the corners and round in the corners. Sometimes as well, if you're cutting really fiddly things out, it's better to cut the centre out before you cut the edge out, just because then the piece that you're working on is maybe a little bit more stable. You could do it all with a craft knife if you want to. If you're happy cutting with a craft knife, you could definitely cut the insides out with a craft knife. If you're not, then just persevere with your scissors. But the bigger the border you leave, the easier it is to cut out, because you're making everything that much bigger, which is why I leave borders, because you are making it easier for yourself. I mean, I really admire one of the cards that it was the Daisy rectangle frame one that Philippa had made, and I didn't realise that it was actually that she'd cut it out and stuck it onto a background. I thought it was on the card. And the fussy cutting that Philippa had done was absolutely incredible. I'm afraid my contact lenses and my readers are not good enough to do that sort of fussy cutting anymore. But I'm more than happy with those for my card. I think that's absolutely fine. Right, so decent scissors, Joe, is an absolute must. And the thing as well is that you need to keep them just for paper. Don't let anybody use them for anything else. I'm really bad myself. I pick them up and I might cut tape with them as well, and you can't. If you want a pair of scissors that you're going to use for just cutting paper, keep them just for that. Oh, the card. But look, I've got all glue on these where I cut tape, and it was red liner tape, and it's, hate it. I love it, but it's really hard to get off. Okay, so I've got an 18 by 24, and I'm going to take my little scoreboard, which I love, and I'm going to score at 12. So a couple of times. Again, I've got a nice piece of, this is super smooth, but it was in a size. So I've got my card blank, and it goes in a 5x7 envelope, so it's perfect. Then I'm going to bring in my background stencil, and I'm going to bring a pink brush, and I'm going to use picked raspberry. So I like to use, I keep seeing all these people who have got these ink pad holders, but I like to put my ink pad on the side against my glass mat, and then it doesn't move while I fill it up with ink. Really important to put a nice lot of ink on. The fact that we've got this nice bright pink, so I think we're going to be okay with this colour. So I want it to be stronger. This was really pale on my card, my original card, but I want it to be a bit stronger this time. But don't go in too heavy-handed. If anybody watched Philippa's Technique Tuesday yesterday, take your time and build the layers up. I think that's going to look, oh, it's going to look lovely with those. Perfect. So I don't want it all over. I am still going to do it just random. So I'm going to line my stencil up again and just extend this a little bit. But just take your time. I do circular motions in both directions so that I get into all the nooks and crannies. I'm going to have a little piece over here. So make sure you get your stencil lined up nice and straight on the edge. But we'll have a little bit over here. And I'm not worried if I'm not getting complete diamonds as well. Then, because I'm having these open on here, I want that one down there. Let's have that like that. I don't really want, I've probably put two, oh, well, that would look quite nice actually, just with that one diamond. Okay, so I need a diamond in here now as well. Okay, so we'll have one about there. Just using the edge of my stencil to make sure I've lined it up, because I'm coming in not attached to any other stenciling at the moment. And then we'll just extend it down the bottom. And I'll have a little bit over in this corner as well. So yes, so if you're not very good at ink blending, I highly recommend watching Philippa's Technique Tuesday from yesterday, where she did beautiful ink blending, absolutely gorgeous. And yeah, just lots of hints and tips that she gives. So, but it was really interesting. Lots of us said we rushed too much to do it, and I'm as guilty as anybody of rushing to do that. Okay, so I'm going to stamp my sentiment actually first, so that I've got that ready. So I can take my stamp out now, and I will clean it because my name isn't Hazel. Which probably isn't fair, but anyway. Oh, I love that. Joe, you're very naughty watching at work. Don't blame you. Good for you. Okay, so I'm going to use it as a birthday. I'm going to put a birthday message in it. And I'm going to have my flowers at the top like I did originally. So I can use my magnet to hold my flowers down. I'm going to put my happy birthday in there. And I'm going to use it as a happy birthday because I need a card. So I'm going to stamp my birthday out. And I think this will be nice, a nice, bright, colourful card for someone whose birthday is in a couple of days. So beautiful, comes out perfect. Love the fonts, really lovely, clean and crisp every time. So pop that back in my folder. Okay, so now to be careful that you don't touch the black ink because it doesn't dry that quickly. So just be aware of that. So I'm going to take one of my Hunky Dory foam strips, and then I can place this around the edge, and I absolutely love these. I love that you can shape them, but they're just so easy to use. They're wonderful. They come off, the backing comes off them perfectly as well. They're just wonderful. Some foam pads are a nightmare to get the backs off. These are just lovely. So I'm going to place this, and we're going to have it with the diamond that we could see. So I place that down. Now I'm going to put the orange one and overhang it, and we'll have it so we can see this diamond at the bottom here. And I need to not put foam tape where it's going to be touching the pink one. So I know that if I hold it here, I need to start there, and then I won't have any foam pads where they overlap. So let's just place it back down so we can go up to there. Okay, up to that one. Trim that off. And I either put what I don't need back on, or I could actually use a little bit there. And I'll put a piece, use the rest up on that one. So now I can remove the backing paper. And I need a little bit of glue where they're going to overlap. So we are having them, so it's like that. So I want a bit of glue on that bit. Sorry, on that bit and on that bit. Oh, that's come out really fast. That's because I filled the glue bottle up. Let's tap a bit off. Okay, so now I'm going to place this overlap in. Make sure my points are roughly in the right place. That'll be fine. And pop that down. And then I'll just use, as I've got these out, I'll just use, no I won't, that's a waste. They're lovely for sentiments. Let's get a big foam pad, because one of those on the back, whoops, will be perfect. And then I'm going to offset my wording very slightly down a little bit. There we go. And then the only thing that needs now, and it most definitely needs them, is some glosses. Oh, look, perfect. Those three colours. Okay, so I'm going to put one there. I'll have one up there, and I'll have one in that one. Then we'll have the peachy colour. We'll put the other orange on there, and we'll use another peach. Or we can let's have a pink. There we go. Perfect. Beautiful colours. That was from Tutti Frutti, those ones. And then the only other thing that I would do, because I can't make a card unless I have some glitter glue on it. So I'm going to put a little bit of glitter glue in all the centres of the flowers. And I just do a little scribble, and then I'm going to glitter glue the frames. Oops, or roughly the frames, I should say. But isn't that lovely how it didn't matter which way up I have the flowers, it works every single time. I just think that's lovely, and it just makes the stamp so much more versatile. Okay, I saw a couple of questions. Bear with me. What do you do to clean your stamps, please? I use a clean cloth. Ha ha ha. It's a microfiber kitchen cloth, you know, one you have in the kitchen. And I have a water bottle that I spritz my stamps and I clean them. Because of the teeth on the microfiber cloth, it gets in all the nooks and crannies, so it cleans them off perfectly. And then periodically I will fill the sink with hot soapy water, and I put them in. I give all my stamps a bath, and I scrub them with a scrubbing brush, and I mean scrub them. And then I lay them on the draining board with the side that you stick to your stamping press. So you would stick it with the flat side and let them air dry. And that way what happens is, and I have no idea why this works, but it puts the stick back so that they cling better. So if after you've done some embossing and you're finding they're not clinging very well, put some hot soapy water in the sink and give them a good scrub with washing up liquid on a scrubbing brush, and they'll be like brand new again. I'll do my stamps afterwards and then I'll post a picture of it because you won't believe the difference. Okay, so that was that. And then Joe, I use those foam strips on the shaker card. They're absolutely brilliant for things like that. I can't recommend them enough. They come in a pack like this. You get 11 strips that are 5mm and 15 strips that are 3. So there's different sizes in here, but they're all, these ones are 2mm deep, but they come in different thicknesses as well. They're wonderful. You prefer the darker background? Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? But it gives it such a different look. Wished I hadn't done my diamonds, but there you go. But we could do like Philippa does and actually accentuate, do some doodling in the... Oh, you could stamp little flowers. I only gave you that big one this time. Oh, you've got the daisy head. You have got that daisy head, so you could actually stamp maybe a couple of daisies. That would look nice as well. But it's funny, isn't it? I do like the strong colours as well. That's really interesting. What's a scrub mummy? Debs, I don't know what that is. Okay, well, I'm glad you're loving the card anyway, so that's lovely. So I'm going to put this to one side and grab my other bits. So for this one, we're going to make this card, and we're going to use the foliage galore stamp set. So I'm using the big background one this time, and I will be back on. I'm going to do some more lives, pick out some cards that I want to show you how I've made, and it'll probably be next week before I get to do the Linda B one. Lots of people were asking if I would show how to do this card. So I will do this card, but it probably won't be until after Easter because I'm going away. So yes, this will be next week, but I will do that, I promise. Okay, so this is the card that I'm going to concentrate on this morning. Again, I've got a piece of A6, which is what this is. I know it doesn't look like it, but it's because I've cut it. So I've got a piece of A6 and I've got another piece of 18 by 24, which I will score in a second. So I'm just going to work on this bit to start with. And I love this. This is a technique that Hazel taught me from Dragon's Papercraft. Bear with me because I've got a bit of ink, I think. Not that you... It's filthy. It's a sticky mat that's not sticky anymore. So I've turned it over and it's a nice mat to have in my platform. Okay, so I'm going to grab my foliage background. This is a big stamp, which is why it had to go in an A5 stamp set, so that it almost filled the A6. So I wanted it to be as big as it possibly could. And I'm going to put my magnet right on the edge there. And I'm going to do pinks and oranges this time. So I'm going to do picked raspberry, and I will do ripe persimmon. Oh, and I know what would look nice. Let's try a bit of saltwater taffy in there as well. So let's pick our stamp up first of all. And just make sure that your card is in right into the corners, because you need to stamp this several times. So we're using, I'll put them here so you can see. So we're going to use picked raspberry, ripe persimmon and saltwater taffy. And what we're going to do first of all is we're going to add some colour to the stamped image with the saltwater taffy. I am going to give it a little twist as I stamp it down. I'm not worried if I don't get colour everywhere. I twist it as I put the ink down because I want to get the pigment and the dye base to come out and not just the dye. So the ink pad is a mixture of dye and pigment. So now I'm going to stamp this out, and all I'm going to have is a partially stamped image with some saltwater taffy on. So next up, I'll take ripe persimmon, and I don't clean my stamp. I'm just seeing where the ink is and just go in different areas. It doesn't matter if I go over the saltwater taffy, but I don't want to go all over it. If you get any ink on here, don't panic. Just get a piece of kitchen roll and just wipe the excess off. You'll get a little bit of ink on your bit of kitchen roll, but it won't spoil your ink pad or anything like that. So then I'm going to bring this back in, and I'm going to stamp down those colours. You can soften the edges with a sponge or with a blending brush, but because I'm going to spritz this and it's going to bleed everywhere, I don't really bother. So then I'm going to come in, and I need to put pink now, picked raspberry, where nothing else is, where your gaps are. And you can go over different areas as well that you may already have some of the other colours down. Then we'll bring this in, and we'll just make sure that we've got, I can see we haven't got a complete image, but let's see what that does first of all. So we'll come back. I am going to wipe my stamp now just to get most of the ink off, because I'm going to come back in with the saltwater taffy, and I don't want to contaminate that. So I have a gap down here and a gap in there and a bit there, and I could do a bit more up there. So let's see if we fill this up. Make sure it's back in to the corners nicely. Oh, I can still see a bit I've missed. Okay, so I can see a bit down here. I think it's really hard. I find it really hard to find where it is on the stamp. And the heart, got a bit missing on the heart. And I think we could have a bit more, bring a bit more saltwater taffy and a bit in there. Okay, I think we're going to be there now. Okay, so we have a lovely mixture of the inks. Okay, so let's have a look. So we've got a real lovely mixture of the inks in the colours there. And so what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to take the stamp out. You must leave the stamp in your stamping platform. And I'm going to get my water spritzer, and I'm going to spray this with some water, and it's going to start to make the inks bleed. And I have to know when to stop with the water, because I always add too much. Then I'm going to heat this to dry it. I'm just going to pick this up. I'm just going to wipe the excess away first of all. And if you hold your piece of card up while you're drying it, the air can get through underneath, and you will dry everything a lot quicker than if you leave it down on the glass mat. So you just want to make sure that everything is dried off. You can blot it if you want to, but I like to try and let the water dry, or heat it to dry it, because you get more of the water droplets then showing. If you blot it, you take too much of the colour away. Okay, so now I need to dry the back as well to try and smooth it out a little bit. And back to the front again. And don't worry how it's looking, because we're going to go back in with an ink pad and put the detail back into the stamp. But I just want to make sure it's dry enough before I start stamping again. So you've got all this lovely smudgy ink. You do still have some detail with the colours and what have you. You could spritz it a bit more here if you wanted to. Don't know if I want to or not. I think I might just very gently just make those colours run just a little bit. Now I think it'll give us a bit more of a watercolour look to the background. So just concentrate on those areas where it's really wet, and then you'll get that concentration of colour. Where it dries, you'll get those lovely puddle marks. Right, let's just wipe here because I've got a big blob of water there. And again, we'll just heat the back to try and smooth this out a little bit and make sure it's dry. Okay, so I think that we've definitely got a really lovely bleed going on with the design now. So now I'm going to just wipe my mat because I'd left all the ink on. Put my card back in, right into the corner. I am going to clean my stamp. And I'm going to use my cloth just to make sure clean all that colour away. That's lovely. And then I'm going to take my black ink pad. So I haven't moved my stamp. And it doesn't matter if this isn't perfectly aligned over the top of your original image, because it's also blurry now. It doesn't really matter, but you've got some of that detail showing. As long as it is as near to it. You don't want, you must have it fairly near, otherwise it's going to look like it's blurred and missed. So we do want it to be as good as we can. Okay, and I just love how awesome does that look when you put the detail back in. I just think that's fabulous. Oh, Susan, how fantastic that you've had your delivery. I'm going to get a delivery any minute, I think. So if my doorbell goes, I do apologise. I'm not getting a delivery of my stamps, though. I'm getting a new ink pad. I can't think what else I ordered from Hazel now. But I'm getting a new ink pad and a few other bits. I can't remember. How bad is that? And he ordered it yesterday. Okay. So I won't take my stamp out just yet. I'm going to trim a little bit of the white, which I'm sure I did. Yes, I did. I trim a little bit of the white from around the edge. So literally, I don't know, probably not even 5 mil. And probably not the same from each side, because I don't want to lose any of the design. But I just want to clip a little bit of that extra white away. So I've got that. Oh, I just think that's fabulous. I really do. Then I'm going to get myself a sponge. And I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use I use black on this one, which I don't normally use. But, oh, I need to chop it in half first. I'm going to use pink, I think, because I'm going to bring the pink out. So I literally put the design in my guillotine and decided where I wanted to chop it. So I'm sort of looking here and here, but yeah, I mean, you just look and you just literally chop, and that's it. So you don't have to chop a section away or anything. You're ending up opening this up to then stamp your sentiment inside the card. So there's no like chopping a little piece away. It's literally one chop and then open it up. So I've got a sponge. going to take some of the picked raspberry, and then I'm just going to ink around all the edges, and this is just going to give me a border to the edge of my bits of card. And I find it really pleasing when I'm going to put this on a white card. It's just nice to have that little bit of colour around the edge. It's almost like you've layered it up onto something else, and you haven't had to. You've just added a little bit of ink around the edge. So just picking up on that ink that I've got down there. If you do this and you spritz it too much and you find that you haven't got enough detail in some of the areas that you want a little bit more colour in, just go back in with your a water brush and some ink pads and paint in some of the detail if you wanted to. I could pick out these leaves and make all those leaves pink, but I'm really happy with how it's looking, so I'm going to leave it as it is. Okay, so we've got our pieces. I'm going to bring my card blank in, and I'm going to score this at 12 centimetres again. Oh, I've got my sponge is breaking up, and I got a little bit on my card, and I've just brushed it, but I will use my magic rubber in a minute. And if you haven't seen my magic rubber, then I will show you, and you need to get one. So it's if I've got any bits on my mat. Okay, so where I got this little bit of pink ink, which I am being a bit fussy about, but I am fussy. So where I've got this little bit of pink ink, if I take this mono sand eraser and gently and carefully rub a bit at a time over and over, but just doing a little bit at a time, because it is an eraser, but it's quite harsh, but it's a mono sand eraser by Tombow. Absolutely brilliant, and it's gone. So I've saved a lot of cards I can tell you with this. Okay, so next up I need to clean my stamp, or did I? No, I did clean my stamp. So my stamp can come out now because I'm happy with everything. Obviously this is a great card that you could batch make, do lots of different colours and create a little set of cards. Maybe you could create a set of cards and put different sentiments in there as well. Okay, so I'm going to place my pieces of card on my card, and I'm going to use my magnet, and I have a little broken piece in here which I can use for the other one. And the reason I'm doing that is then now I know I'm going to put these on with foam pads because I wanted to raise it up, but now I know where everything lines up. Then I can get my sentiments, and I'm going to use the sentiments from Linda B's collection because I love. So I'm going to say just to say, and I'll do a happy birthday, I think. No, actually I'm going to say just to say, and I'm going to say thinking of you because I need another card. So I'm going to put the thinking of you down there, and I'm going to put the just to say up there, and then I'm going to eyeball it, but I want it. That's perfect. That looks straight enough to me. Ish, you could get a ruler out, but I think that would be okay. And then I'm going to use my black ink pad. I think as well, sometimes if the cards look too perfect, you lose the element of handmade. There, perfect sentiment, perfectly stamped. And then I can add these. Let's get my press out of the way. So you could set this up so that you could do lots of these cards in one go. Just grab some big. Yeah, you could set your stamping press up so that you do all the backgrounds, and then you could pop in the sentiments and stamp a few at a time, so you're batch making, and it's a really nice one to batch make in different colours, add different sentiments, or leave the sentiment even, so that you're ready to add it when you know what you want the card for. Okay, so let's take these ones off, and I will go back in a second and just read the comments again. Make sure I've got nice even border top, bottom and side, and then a few more. I've got a couple left on this one. Definitely need one there. Because we've done it on nice quality card, you shouldn't need, I'm probably going to need one there, I think. I would definitely want to put one there so it won't sag, because I don't use cheap card. Would never ever use cheap cardstock. So, okay, so then we can place this one down, making sure our border looks lovely. Perfect. And then all I did, and it won't come as any surprise to anyone who knows me, actually I've just spun, I've got a little system, it's actually a makeup stand, but the amount of makeup that I have, it's what I use for my craft. I've got my ink pads and all sorts in it, my tools at the top, and I've just spun it round, and I think I've got about 6 glitter glues on the go. So it won't come as any surprise to any of you that know me so well that I'm going to add some glitter. Definitely pull out the hearts and add the glitter to the hearts. And I just do little scribbles. I don't do anything exact. I'm just adding a little bit of glitter, squeezing it really, really, really gently. And just add in a few little sparkly highlights, really. Don't have to glitter glue every single flower, every single bit of foliage. Just, yeah, wherever you want to do it. And then I turn the card round, and I'm going to work from this way down so that I'm not going to run the risk of putting my hand in it. And again, just highlight the bits that you want to highlight. And then I always put it to one side to dry, because it is so easy to put your fingers in it and spoil it, and you obviously don't want to do that. So just little, it doesn't even matter if it's not perfect, even if it's just little bits here and there. Just that little bit of sparkle really does make a big difference. And again, how different do they look? Okay, I've just got to go back because I saw lots of okay, so I got to the postie. Yeah, I know. Joe, you need to go visit. Everyone should go visit Hazel's beautiful shop. Thank you, Donna. It is a great eraser. You're absolutely right. It should be an essential in everybody's toolkit, I think. Yeah, you could do this, Sandy, definitely for Christmas. Would be beautiful. And then foiled sentiments instead. Perfect. Oh, thank you. That's lovely, Pam. Excellent. So, was those two, and let's bring in the other 2 cards. So look, we've almost got blues and greens and pinks and oranges. Oh, I hope you've enjoyed that, ladies. And I just really want to thank you for joining me. Lovely to have your company. And I will post on my Julie Hickey Designs page when I will be back next. And I will definitely do the tile. I'm going to call it a tile card, the blue and green one. I'll do that next week, once I'm back from having a few days away. So yeah, so thank you. I hope, and please, please, please make sure that you post any pictures of any makes that you do. especially in the Julie Hickey Designs or Crafty Friends of Julie Hickey Designs. And if you're not a member, then you need to request to be a member. But please post anything that you make. Can't wait to see all your parcels arriving, which is just lovely. And yeah, don't forget you can get them from Hazel and Paul at Dragon's Paper Craft, from Wow Embossing Powder, from Barry at Hixie Soft, Maxine at Maximum Crafts, Julie and Barry at Craft Bliss, Craft Stash have them, Joe and Mark at Let's Create have them, Valley Crafts, Gavin and Ian have them, Jane and Penny at The Art of Craft, Kate at the Mulberry Bush, and they're on their way to Sharon at Forget Me Not Craft Cabin, and also they're in Simon Says Stamps in America, and they're going to be on their way to Australia anytime, so that's fabulous as well. So they will be at JC Crafts, bear with me a minute, in Australia. So yeah, JC Crafts in Australia as well. They'll be winging their way to them soon. So that's fabulous. A new stockist, which is wonderful. Yeah, so thanks ever so much, ladies, and I will see you again very soon. Bye-bye. Have a lovely day. Bye. Oh, and enjoy your Easter, definitely. In case I don't speak to you before then, have a lovely Easter. Bye-bye.